Hey guys, just a little note here. You're going to see some weird edits in this video, and when I went through editing it, it was way too long. So I'm going to cut out the sections where I go over in detail all of the cards for the Federation and the Klingons, and I'm going to upload those as separate videos. And that way you'll still get to see every card that's in there and hear my thoughts on them like I do with normal expansions and things. But you'll also get to see the whole starter set, and I don't have to edit a bunch out to make it a more reasonable length. So, sorry for the edits ahead of time, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at the newer starter set for Star Trek Attack Wing. It's been out for a little while now, but I finally got my hands on one. This is the Federation versus Klingon starter set, and it's a new starter set to the game. It includes everything you need to play, the rule books, all the templates and everything. And this was like a second edition or a 1.5 edition to the game where they had updated and changed a few things. They added into new symbols and stuff into the rules. And it was also when they did the recosting of all the points. So we're going to get in and take a look. So of course, first thing you have right here are the ships, and we'll show them in more detail in a bit. But we have a Bird of Prey, Burrell, I think. There's a Vorcha, there's a Nebula class, and a Galaxy class. Then we have our token sheets, and there's a bunch of these. And these have your target locks. They've changed the minefield. The old minefield was kind of an odd shape. Now it's an oval. You have objective for the missions that come with it. And some dials. There's all your evasive scan battle stations, cloak tokens, a bunch of mission tokens, some of your maneuver tokens there. There's all the rest of the maneuver tokens. They have these new reminder tokens that they're using now with the character card icon on one side and saying what they go to on the other. There we have our ship bases, parts of the dials, captain tokens, more maneuver tokens. The time lock tokens are in there now. Disable tokens, some criticals, shield tokens. More objective tokens. That's Admiral token there. And we got more target lock tokens. Never seen the initiative token. That must be one of the new changes in there. A fleet action for the Admiral. Then we have a bag with our clear pegs in it, and then the center hubs for the dials. A bag of bases. I don't think these have changed much. Some of them have arrows. I think the old ones had little arrows designating which is the front. These ones just have text on there. I don't think it really matters which way is the front either. Actually, yes it does, because the pegs only go in one way. So, yeah, there is a defined front on them. We got new dice, and I think these are a little darker than the others. I'll have to compare, but they have that marble look on them. At least on the defense ones. No, it's on all of them. So we'll get those out and look at them better in a bit. I have a damage deck. I don't know if anything has changed in the damage deck at all. And then we have our cards. Underneath the insert, we have our rule book. For a minute I thought there wasn't one in here, but it found it underneath there. I think they did it so that it didn't block the ships. If they put it in up here, it might slide down. Yeah, see, it's actually a little bit big. It would cover the ships and the window on the box. So that's why they did that. But you got your instruction book there. There's a quick start guide. And you have our your range template, the long maneuver template, and then a planet token. And that's everything that comes in the box. We'll get them all situated and look everything over a bit more closely. I do like the fact that they finally fixed this too. You can see my reflection in there. But they done this with all the faction pack boxes too. Those are flip lids though. But on this, This is actually glued to the box. And if you're familiar with the original starter set, this was actually a plastic tray that went over top of where the ships went. So when you took the lid off the box, there was a big hole. And a lot of us cut that tray off and glued it to the inside anyway. So it's nice to see that they took that into consideration and did that to begin with. So anyway, we'll get all this stuff laid out, get all these tokens punched out, and come back. And there's a look at everything that comes in the box all laid out. The templates all in the back, the tokens, the ships and everything. And gonna go over this like it's brand new for those of you who might just be getting into Attack Wing with this rulebook or with this starter set. The first thing we have here is our rulebook. We have a nice contents page on the front. Tells you everything you're supposed to have and how many. How to assemble the ships and dials, the anatomy of a card. Then you get into setup. They show you a couple examples, 2-player, 3-player game. And then it goes through the turn phases, pretty much how to play. I wish there were more examples in here. They have a couple, but not a lot. But not a lot of this has changed since the old version. How to attack. Then into the advanced rules for building your own fleet, how upgrades and things work. There's the anatomy of an upgrade card. And then there is a section for actual advanced rules. This is about building your own fleets and things like that. And it goes on to case rules for like planets, minefields. And in the back there are a couple missions. I think there's only 2 in this. I want to say there were 3 in the old book. But we have a new source of dilithium and the chase. No, I guess those were the same ones that were in the old book. And then some releases there. Nice quick reference guide on the back that shows you the different tokens and what they do, as well as the turn phases. Those come in handy when you first start out. Onto the quick start guide. This is just to get you up and running and playing a game as soon as possible. They leave out quite a bit of the rules just to give you a very basic overview of things to get in a first game. And this will get you playing right off the bat. I think this is how I learned how to play with this guide the first time I played too. And the Galaxy class model is this newer style with the silver paint and the windows painted in. Don't mind the model so much. I'm not so sold on the black windows though. They're kind of weird looking. At the same time, Federation ships are supposed to be white. That always bothered me that they switched to the silver. Then we have our Nebula class. Mine actually came with this piece up here. Was not glued down all the way, so when I went to take it out of the package, it broke off, and I think I glued it on crooked. You can kind of see there it's a little crooked. These new models, though, seem to be okay in detail-wise. They've done a much better paint job on them. But again, this silver color with the black windows. I prefer the old really light gray or white. It's also worth noting, I don't know if it's just mine. Sometimes these pegs where they attach to the base don't get centered straight, but mine has like a downward tilt to it. So, I don't know if it's just a thing with my model or if it's something with this other, or the Nebula class in general, but it looks strange next to the other ships. For our ships here, this is my first time seeing the repainted Vorcha. I'm kind of biased because I like the old ones. I'm not big on the new metallics for a lot of the ships. I prefer the older prints. They also seem to have skipped a lot of detail on these. Like these plates here used to be colored. The engines in the back, the impulse engines used to have color to them. There used to be color in these warp cells. There are a little bit here on the front. But yeah, I gotta say I'm biased. These have been my favorite ship all along, so I'm liking the old version better. Then we have our Cavort class, and again the same issues here. They didn't bother painting the, what do you call them, panels, feathers, whatever on the wings. Something must have happened between this version and the previous versions of the game where I think they lost some of the newer molds too, because some of the ships seem to be older molds. But yeah, they didn't do them on the bottom either. But yeah, all that used to be painted on the old models. And that's pretty much everything for the cards in that. We have, I think they gave you 6 of each tokens, which is kind of strange because they give you 6 cloak tokens. You only have 2 cloaked ships. And any more cloaked ships you buy come with those, so that was an odd choice. You have your disabled and your time tokens. One thing worth noting, if you are easily bothered by things, is a lot of the tokens are off-centered. And I know that can bother. Here, this one's a good example. Is way off-centered. And you'll see that a lot. Like the captain's tokens have that issue too. Something very minor, but some people get bothered by that kind of thing. The dice have definitely been switched up a little bit from the first edition. I like they're more marbleized now. I think for a while they were just solid flat green and red. So they have this marble look to them. Time will tell how well they hold up. I know I had an issue with the first edition ones. The paint would chip off. So after a while you would start having just markings you could easily see, especially on the red dice here. Like the center of this would chip out, and from across the table it would kind of look like a crit. And you knew it wasn't, but it was something to keep an eye out and see how well these hold up. They're brand new though, so I haven't really played them that much. I rolled them to see how they're going to handle over time. Worth mentioning, the cards are kind of flimsy card stock. And almost thought that was an admiral at first, but it's that flipping captain. But they're kind of flimsy, but I think that's the way they've been all along. Doesn't show up on camera too well, but there you can kind of see they have that linen finish. They're not flat cards, so it makes them feel a little bit better quality than they really are, because they are very thin. But at the same time, I think Attack Wing's always been that way, so it's not really anything unsuspecting. The movement templates and things are nice, thick. Cardboard as always. Nothing wrong there. I don't think anything's changed on those. The ships still have minor defects, as they always have, like my Nebula class, and it's angling downward. One of the biggest ones that's always bothered me about the game, if you look at the base squared to the ship is actually turned. And the only way to fix that is to remove the base here where the peg goes into the ship. We cut off one of our spare pegs and you can glue it in place and adjust that. But if you try to twist them and you twist them too much, they will snap the pegs, so be careful of that. But that's been a pet peeve since the very beginning of the game. That's still a quality issue they're working on. So those are pretty much my only real complaints. Everything else, pretty standard. Nothing bad to say about it. I do like the old paint jobs better, but that's personal opinion. Some people like the new ones. I think they look good on some ships, like the Ferengi ship, and that orangish gold kind of looks good in the new paints. But Federation ships are not silver. They never were. So Federation ships were always either a white or like a really light gray, and then they changed. The color looks weird depending on the star in the system they're in, and light reflects off of it, but that's always bothered me, a little pet peeve. Nothing gameplay-wise, though. Everything gameplay-wise is pretty much the same. They changed some iconography on things, and if I misspoke during this, I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning the new symbols from the new book, but the big ones are the little icons on the cards that say they can only be equipped on certain ships. I'm trying to think. there was one in here. Maybe it was in here. It's like warfare. This means, now if I get these wrong, this means you can only go on a Klingon ship, I believe, and then that one means you have to have a Klingon captain. Those I keep getting backwards, so correct me if I'm wrong on those, but new symbols I'm still learning. I apologize. I've been playing this game for years, and they just threw new symbols at me. So overall, though, this is a great starter set if you're getting into the game. If you want to play Federation or Klingon, it's a great way to get started. You also get your rulebook, you get all your templates. Alliance can also work as a starter set, as in you get all of the templates, you get the tokens and things, you get the damage deck. However, it does not come with the rulebook, so keep that in mind. I think if you're just getting into the game, this is a better pack for the Klingons. Though the Federation does have some nice cards in here, the two ships are kind of intermediate at best. I'm not a fan of the Galaxy in this game. I love the ship in the show, but in the game, not so much. There's definitely better options out there, but it's still a good base to get you started. You get a nice Picard, though I do think the original set's Picard was better. But yeah, that's a look at the Federation versus Klingon starter set for Attack Wing. This is the new starter set that should be available for you to buy, and that's probably the biggest complaint I have. As much as I love the game, WizKids needs to get their act together with it. And I think this comes from HeroClix being one of their more popular games. They limited produce this couple sets. They put them out. When they're done, they're done. They never reproduce them. Where when it comes to a collectible game like this, you need to make all your expansions, your starter sets, and things like that available permanently. And the competition does a great job with X-Wing. X-Wing is always in stock. You go to your game store, you go to anything online, and they have tons of expansions available, even for the newer editions and some of the old stuff. You go look up Attack Wing, and the starter sets have been out of stock forever. They just came back into stock when I got this one, and then they're out of stock again 2 days later. So they may or may not be in stock when you go to watch this. And that, honestly, is what's killing the game. People can't buy the starter. They can't get into the game. You can't bring new players into the game. And it's really hurting the game's popularity, in my opinion. You can't find expansion ships. They started going to these booster packs, which give you card packs, which are great for people like me that have been playing for a long time and have a ton of ships laying around. But as a new player, this does nothing. You can't play this because it doesn't come with a ship. And they need to re-release all of the ships and keep them in stock, not do limited print runs. And I just don't think they understand that aspect of the game, and it's honestly is going to kill the game if it hasn't already. I'd like to think it's making a comeback. I see more people playing it. I hear more about it, and I see more people in our area interested. So hopefully that's a good sign, as long as they can keep stock out there for people to buy. The faction packs were impossible to get for the longest time, and I'm seeing them in stores again, at least the newer ones, so that's a good sign. And hopefully all this doesn't dissuade you from trying the game. If you can get your hands on a starter pack, or if you can get Alliance and download the rulebook because it's available online for free, it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. You can play with 2 people. We played games with like 6 people before. It's expandable to the point where you can do just about anything you want. There's hundreds of scenarios out there you can download, things like that, to make it a really fun and interesting game. It's not always go out there and kill your opponents. You can do all kinds of scenarios that have different objectives and things to do. And it's just a great game overall if you can get your hands on it. So, like I said, I hope it doesn't dissuade you from trying it and finding it if you can. If you do, if you're a Star Trek fan, I think you're going to enjoy it. The combat system's kind of off because you're using giant battleships and things and limited fire arcs and stuff. Kind of feel weird, like a giant Galaxy class you see in the show all the time shooting 360 degrees, but in this game only has a 90-degree front arc. Things like that were done for balance. Unfortunately, they're not very thematic, but you can put weapons on there that give you a 360-degree arc and things like that. So it compensates out. But if you can get past that and you're a Star Trek fan, I think you will definitely enjoy the tactics strategy of this game. I didn't really go over it too much in this, and I apologize if you're a new player. I didn't do like a how-to play type thing, but you're setting your maneuvers of what you're going to do on these dials, and then your opponent set theirs, and it's all in secret. And then as your turns come up, you flip them over and perform your maneuvers. So you have to anticipate what the other player is going to do, and I think that strategy type aspect is only present in a couple games like this. X-Wing being one of them, of course. It's based on the same gaming system. It really adds to it, and then the thematic aspect of all the upgrades and things, you can see where they came from. Or if you're a huge fan, you remember the episodes that these, especially the images on the cards, you remember the episodes that they appeared in and the references to them, which are kind of neat. Overall, though, it's a good pack. It'll get you started. It'll upgrade. If you're Klingon or Federation, you get a bunch of new stuff to play with. And that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap it up for our look at the Federation versus Klingon starter set for Star Trek Attack Wing. Again, despite my rant, I hope you, if it's something you're interested in, it's something you'll check out. I hope it helps you decide if it is something worth looking into, and I hope you can find it. That said, as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.